Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Juanita Williams. I am a purpose conduit. I am the link to life beyond pain and the channel to discovering purpose. And this is today's Tuesday Truth. We are continuing the series on trauma wounds. And today I have my fabulous, fabulous sister, my fabulous sister friend, Dorothea Gulley. So I'm going to allow her to continue to introduce herself and then share her testimony. And then we're going to hit it. All right, girl, go on ahead and share your testimony.
Well, I am Dorothea Gulley. Most people won't know me as Dot. Um, I am a mother of three, uh, with a trauma wound. Today we're going to discuss my trauma wound, which um, we call our mother hurts.
Yeah.
So we're just going to get into my testimony and what I see it as, what other people may see it as, and what has helped me heal from
Yes.
my trauma wounds,
Yes.
if that's the best way we can describe what today is going to be about.
Yes.
Um, there's not much to me. I was raised by my grandparents, um, pretty much from birth. Um, it was in and out during the younger years, and then they decided that, okay, she can't go back. Um, I was born to a mother um, who was very young. She was 13 at the time. So we know at the age of 13, in the olden days, it was you didn't tell nobody, we'll just take care of it. Um, and they pretty much took me from her. So it was the not being seen or heard type trauma. So as a kid, I didn't understand that. Um, but for me, it was my parents. My grandparents were my parents. I didn't know any different. I didn't see any different. They didn't treat me any different. It was like I was birthed from them. Um, it did not get traumatizing until realizing my mother's own wounds and her taking the wounds out on me, where it became traumatic for me. Um, we hid a lot, so I'm not even sure a lot of things that happened. My family was even privy to, if I want to be honest. Um, my mom, my grandmother, was a big believer of what happens in the house stays in the house. So honestly, I think it wasn't probably until their death and the passing of my mom that my family didn't even know how traumatic and how hurt my mom did me. Um, you get to a point where you think you're over it. You think you grow, you think you mature, and then things happen and that wound is opened back up. So, um, disclaimer, I was not abused. I was not physically beaten. I was not hurt in any way, but mentally I was broken. Um, because the very one person that you think is supposed to protect you or is supposed to love you unconditionally was not that for me. Um, she was very, very mean and 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 evil towards me. But if you talk to somebody else, I was the sunshine, the light, the one person that she felt was good in her life. However, I never knew that. It was not portrayed to me. Um Portrayed to me was, I hate you. You took my place. I wish you weren't here type stuff. Um I can remember as a kid, um just going to her house just to try to get her attention, and her like just calling me out my name, calling me bees, just like beating me down, like I was never good enough. Like, um, I'm not the only child, so I am on my mother's oldest of three. And always feeling like she loved her boys because I guess she loved their father, maybe is what I used to think. Um, I also didn't really know my dad's people until he passed away either. So I've been motherless and fatherless my entire life. Most people don't think about that, so they don't actually think from a kid's perspective. Um, so they assume, well, you were raised good. You had parents. You had a mother and father. I had a two-parent home. But they don't think about the trauma of always not being a part of something. It's constantly brought up that they aren't your parents. They, you know, they hide it behind the less it is special because you're a special child. However, but I'm still not a part of something. So I was never ever a part of something. I don't have a group. I'm too old to be with the grandkids because all of them are 10 years younger than me or more. And I'm not actually a sibling. So it's always been just me. And although I wanted their attention, wanted to be um a special part, I've always been um by myself, basically. And again, disclaimer, I was not abused. I had an amazing childhood, but you still have the sense of not belonging. And people made sure to let you know that you don't belong. Um, and so it was hurtful. It was hurtful for somebody that you thought should have loved you and should have been there for you who wasn't. I wasn't um a part of her until she needed something from me. So um just knowing that you want to be around somebody or think about that, it's hurtful. It's hurtful um because when nobody else is around, you're treated like dirt. So you're made to feel ugly, you're made to feel not wanted, you're made to feel all of the emotions of being in a way. So I grew up with a complex of trying to be perfect in an imperfect world. Um, because I felt like if I did anything, they would give me away too. So you live with the trauma of feeling like you can't do anything, you can't say anything, you gotta be perfect, you gotta do this, you gotta do what they say because you don't want to be given away again. And most people feel like you know, oh, well, you had this, you had that. Not thinking that in my parents' eyes, they were thinking they were getting a second chance. So whatever they felt like they failed at in their child, sorry, y'all, I'm getting emotional. Um, they thought that they could fix in me. So now I have to walk in the shadow of somebody who not only didn't want me, but to literally try to fix what they thought they broke. And they didn't break anything either. It was just choices. It was choices. Um, so I had to live with that. Then I had to live with other people feeling like, you know,
If you need to take
well,
a break, we can take a break.
no, because we got to get through this
Okay.
because
Okay.
I don't want to. It's so many people dealing with the heartache of, you know, a mother's pain. Um, I used to feel bad because the Bible tells you that you have to honor your mother and father. And sometimes it's not fair because you have to honor somebody who never honored you. And the Bible does tell us that our parents shouldn't provoke us either. But we don't talk about that because we honestly always say, that's the big thing in Christian homes is we have to honor our mother and father, so your days will be long. But they never tell us, they didn't tell us that our parents were supposed to honor us as well. And so what happens when they don't honor us? I can remember a time that I used to want her attention, so I would drop my kids off. And she would babysit. And this particular time, she had called and said she wanted my girls. My niece was over there, which is my brother's daughter. They were riding their bikes, and she wanted to them to play with them. So I'm like, okay. I literally lived a block away, but by the time they got done playing, it was dark. So I got in a car, went and got them, and took them home. I left their bikes. By the time I got back the next day, she had sold the bikes. So those are the things that, even as a family, most people don't want to talk about because don't nobody want to open up the wounds, especially for somebody who's gone. Um, I don't know that they even understood my trauma until her funeral. Um, we are literally in a funeral and I am non existent. So there's times where um, that is what it is. But when people show you, it it was a whole nother trauma. So I'm standing there and you have people asking me who I am. You have people telling stories and basically saying how much she loved her boys. And
And how did that make you feel?
um like shit, if I want to be honest. Um it was one of the worst pains I had ever felt in my life. Um because not only do I have to stay here and honor her because my mother is watching me. Um it was a slap in the face because but then you like, if y'all don't see this now, there's no way that I can explain to you what I'm feeling. And I felt like I was finally seen for the first time after that. And I didn't, even growing up, I didn't ever want, and I still do. This is just my personality, and maybe it's because of my trauma. I never ever want anybody to feel like their feelings don't matter because mine never mattered. I felt like mine never mattered. Um, Not because they didn't care and not because they didn't love me, but for them it was just get over it. I you're taken care of.
And by
It
them,
shouldn't.
explain to them who you're talking about by them.
Family,
Okay.
period. Family.
Just for clarity, y'all, she's talking about family.
Yeah, just family. It shouldn't matter how somebody treats you because you're still taken care of. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't think that that should even be a thing because it does matter. It does matter. It did matter. It it forced me to live in what I call my attic. I've never been able to be who I am, who I could be, because I've always had to hide myself in the attic. I was never able to say that hurt because they felt like you shouldn't hurt because you already have you're taken care of. You weren't abandoned. You didn't get put in the system. It does not matter. Mental abuse is just as bad as any physical thing that could have ever been done to me. It has caused me a mental prison that at the age of 50, I'm just now breaking the surface. I haven't even stepped into um, deeper rooted stuff, probably. Um, but being able to acknowledge it is is even big.
Much so, very much so. Acknowledgement is really big because if you don't acknowledge it, you know what's going on. But if you don't acknowledge
Absolutely.
it, you all you're doing is just like stewing, like
Yep.
stewing in hurt and stewing in rejection, stewing in abandonment. You know that it actually is what it is. But if you don't
Yeah.
acknowledge it, then you're gonna remain. You're gonna
And
remain in
I
that
don't think
cycle.
people realize rejection is traumatic.
Oh my gosh. You know how you
They
feel
try,
to get
yeah.
rejected. You know how you
You
feel.
try to play the rejection card as, I well, my
Mhm.
opinion. In the Black community, rejection is not forthcoming because nobody wants to acknowledge
Right.
the rejection.
Right.
For them, oh, that it wasn't like that. That's the favorite line. Is
Or we'll
it
turn it the
didn't
other way. Well, I didn't want them anyway.
that part. And it's so hurtful. It's hurtful. It's hurtful. It's hurtful for the person that's being rejected, but it's even hurtful for the person that has that's subjected to
Yes.
rejection.
Yeah.
Um, Rejection is a crippler. It's a crippler. It makes you think that you can't do anything. So, like I said, I felt like my parents felt like they needed a second do over with me. But it also made me feel like I never could do anything
Mhm.
because they did it all. I never had to clean, I never had to make decisions. I can't make decisions right now
Mm.
because somebody has made a decision for me.
Wow.
I It takes me forever. If you give me too many choices, it's not going to happen. because I cannot make the decision on what I should do because I don't know. I'm just now learning who I am because even prior to that, I've been a child, I've been a wife, I've been a mother, I've been a friend. So all of those hats make a decision
Mhm.
on what or who I portray at the time. So we don't discuss that either, you know. So I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like.
Oof.
Um, I knew talent and gifts per se, but you kind of get thrown into that because of who you are and whose you are,
Exactly. I was going to say, and who you're associated with.
who you're associated with. So because of who my grandfather father was, I've always been thrown into the singing realm. Um, but it wasn't necessarily my first thought. But because that's what I thought pleased them, that's what I did.
Wow.
So I immediately did everything that I thought was pleasing to somebody
Wow. Let me tell y'all, I'm just going, I didn't mean to cut her off, but
else.
being a people pleaser is exhausting.
Exhausting.
And having to do that with people that you grow up with, man. Okay, so like they were her parents. Just imagine that. You're trying to please them every day, 24 hours a day. Exhausting.
While trying to dispel what they have in their head because of what my mother did. So they're doing the exact opposite to try to make sure that they don't have a repeat.
Mm,
So
wow.
we have to listen to other people telling them, oh, don't worry, she's still going to be like her.
Mm,
I
mm,
used to cry when people would tell me how much I look like my mother, not from her beauty, because everybody else got the fun person. She was hilarious. She was beautiful, whatever. I got the beast.
mm.
And because I got the beast, what I saw was pure evil. What I saw was ugliness. So if anybody would tell me I tried to change my appearance, I wanted to be lighter, I didn't want my hair to be that way, whatever it took to not be her is what I tried.
Wow.
It's exhausting. It is the worst feeling in the world to try to be something you're not, to
Yes, it
gain
is.
love
Yes.
from somebody who will never ever love you
Wow.
by any fault of your own. And even now, I'm just now be able to even understand her trauma. It had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with me. And I wish I had known that 10 years ago,
Mm,
but it didn't happen for me.
yeah.
So I didn't get the closure I needed before she's gone.
Wow.
I was angry when they called me to tell me that she had passed on. Um, when I was on vacation. So you again have interrupted my life.
Wow.
And I was angry because our last encounter a week before was ugly
Mm,
to the point where I said at that time, I am now 36 years old. I'm done and I'm not going to take it anymore. I don't ever have to speak to you again.
mm.
And that was my last encounter. Nobody wants that.
Right.
Nobody wants that encounter. And it was hurtful because we can't fix it.
Yep.
Because I didn't try, not because I didn't do what everyone says of honor your mother. I did everything that I felt that I could do. And I'm okay with that, but still angry of the fact that at some point we as adults couldn't be cordial enough.
Wow. That's pretty deep. Wow. Mm. Girl, you got me speechless. Oh my God. I'm just sitting there like, oh my God.
See, I
This
told you,
this
you're
my
going to
sis screen time.
open
Yeah.
up something.
Yeah. So what she didn't tell you in her introduction is she is the visionary of Freeing Me podcast.
Oh,
So
I
we also
am.
do a podcast together as well. And it's amazing. Go over on the Freeing Me page and go ahead and join the group and listen to the podcast.
Yes.
We're on
Mhm.
Apple, Spotify, and Google.
And it's all about becoming free from these childhood traumas that we endure that somebody told us that we shouldn't talk about.
Right. What happens in the house stays in the house. You don't
And
tell
I'm
nobody
not
that
doing
stuff.
that no.
You don't tell family business.
Yeah, I'm not doing that no more.
Wow.
And just because I felt it does not mean that you could have had a whole nother thought process, or you could have had a whole nother, it was positive on your side. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
And
Everybody's
then
story is
y'all,
different.
exactly. And I'm done with people trying to tell people, um, well, you didn't remember it right. No, I remember it very
Somebody
vividly.
told you that?
Mhm.
Say that again because you went out.
I remember it very vivid. They're when you have older parents, they don't believe in 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 talking. Um, so it was always, no, it didn't happen like that. It wasn't that bad. Um,
Mm.
so it was kind of blown off
Mm. But
if I ever said anything.
it's your experience though. So
I agree.
they,
And
they
I'm
didn't
I'm
allow
I'm
you to
done.
acknowledge your experience.
And I'm
That's
done with
trauma in
being.
itself.
It is. It is. And that's the thing. I'm no longer silent.
Good for you.
I've been silent enough.
Good for you.
I've been silent enough. And I can never heal if I'm not vocal.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm just hiding in my attic still.
There you go. Y'all got to go listen to the little girl in the attic on Free Me
Little girl in
podcast.
the attic.
Oh my gosh. Her testimony is amazing. And this is just a part of it. So, while
Portion.
while we share, we are either starting or continuing our journey of healing. So let me tell you, it's up to you if you want to share your story or not. It's up to you whether you share it out loud on a platform like this, or either if you just want to share it with your family, share it with your trusted friends, because you can't be telling your stuff to everybody, or
Uh,
if you want to write it out. But what you need to do though is get it out.
you gotta start. You gotta start somewhere. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And that the little girl in the attic was me starting.
Wow.
And I have opened up a floodgate to healing. And I want everybody to heal from where they are. And our healing journeys won't be the same.
Right.
Yours may not be um opening up. Mine was, because silence was key. I was never the one that talked back. I was never the one that would do anything. I was always, even though most people thought, um, because I was the loudest, I was the, outgoing person, that I was the bad person.
Mm.
And I even had one of my cousin's moms come to me later on in life. right before she passed away and said, you know what? I owe you an apology. And I had no idea.
Mm,
And I was like, huh? She said, I've always thought you were the bad influence.
mm. Wow,
And it
perception.
wasn't me. I was always the last one.
Wow.
I was the last for everything. And, but because I have, I had some freedom, um, and I did have older aunts and stuff that would, I had access to cars, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody assumed I was the bad one, but it wasn't me. I was the one that was always like, no, y'all, we shouldn't do that. Because I've always had in the back of my mind, man, if I get in trouble, if something happened, I'm going to be the one they put out, not everybody else.
Mm,
So I've always been the reserved one because I never wanted to feel like I didn't belong anymore.
mm.
And that was um, a hard thing to um, grow up under because we live an imperfect life. And I never could um, actually be perfect.
Yeah.
So I felt like a failure. I felt like a failure.
Wow.
And I shouldn't have had to feel like a failure.
That was a lot of pressure to put on yourself.
Of pressure.
Wow.
I know, most will be like, well, they didn't put that on you. No, they didn't. They didn't. But at the same time, you have to realize when you're rejected, um, that pressure comes from, I don't want to feel that again.
Mm-hmm. I understand the people pleasing. And of course, we do put that pressure on ourselves. But
Mm-hmm.
because I was in, a situation where I was trying to be a people pleaser as well with my parents, I totally understand. And you never can be um, perfect for them,
Mm-mm.
never, ever. But as a kid, we don't understand that, so we still try.
Mm-hmm.
So unbeknownst to ourselves, we are putting this pressure on ourselves because we want to be pleasing to our parents. So I totally understand. And
Yep.
we know that our parents didn't put that on us. We took that on ourselves. But it was something that we thought we could achieve.
Exactly. And it's unattainable.
It
So if you're
sure is.
doing it, stop it.
Yeah. You're never ever going to be able to do that.
Yeah. If you're doing it, stop it. It's unattainable. I know for sure.
Yeah. Well, let me go ahead and if you're done, I can get into the questions.
Yes. Come on.
Okay. So, um, what effect did the trauma that you experienced have on your childhood and your adulthood?
Ooh. On my childhood, like I said, I've always felt like I needed a sense of belonging. So what I couldn't get at home, I would search for outside. Um, so I kept my friends close because there's never been anybody my age. Like I said, they're either 10 years younger or 10 years older.
Mhm.
So I had to develop a sister circle. I had to get um and it took some growing into because you go through the growing pains, you grow through the this person shouldn't actually be in that type situation. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So it took a minute to get the right um circle
Yes.
and the right bullseye
Mhm.
um to know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it made me cautious. Um as I said earlier, it made me, I'm just now finding out who I am, what
Mhm,
I like, what I love to do,
mhm,
who I am outside of being mom, friend, and sister.
mhm.
Um, because I've lived for other people my entire life.
Alright.
Everything was done um for someone else. So what most people learned in their 20s, um, I learned in my 40s. What most people were able to realize in their teens, I didn't realize to my 30s. Um, but I didn't have to take certain um I guess I don't even know how to say it. I didn't I What I deserved was better than what I thought of I in my head.
Okay.
So I'm now able to know, oh, I'm not doing it. Or no, you can't say that to me no
Mhm.
more. You know. Whereas I felt like you could do and say anything to me because somebody else didn't want me either.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
So I took a lot. I fought more for somebody else than I would fight for myself
Wow.
because I didn't think I was deserving. So rejection has a different way of kicking in
Mhm.
um to certain degrees because it makes a difference when you know your worth.
Yes.
And I'm learning my worth. But I used to feel like, well, if they don't want me, then clearly I'm not worth it.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty deep. Wow. You just never know what people experience in life. Like, wow, we thinking, oh, they had such a wonderful, wonderful childhood. You really, really don't know their story. So it's best not to prejudge people or come up with your own perceptions, really. I know we do it all the time. I know we do.
Mm-hmm.
But get to know the person, listen to their story, because you just never know what people are dealing with. So, what are you carrying now?
Uh, what I'm carrying now is self-worth. Um, I'm putting down doubt, and picking up life. Um, is different for me.
Mhm.
I'm still growing and learning. I know they tell you that, you never get too old to learn, but um I used to cry because I did, things that I should have known. I'm just now finding out.
Mm.
Things that I should have been able to do, I should have been able to do long before now. And so I have to recondition myself to know that it's okay to be behind.
Yes.
It
And
does not.
you're really
Um,
not behind. You right on time.
I'm right on time for God's plan.
Yes.
For God's plan. And it 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 did used to shake me. Like, girl, that's something you should know how to do already, or that's something you should be able to do. And but when you're not used to doing it,
Mhm.
and when you're not never had that reinforcement of being able to do it, um, realize that I my life don't look like everybody else's.
Exactly. No two people's lives are
Yeah,
exactly alike because we're all unique individuals.
yeah.
How? Oh, nope, that is not how. So this question was: Have you started the healing process? But clearly, you have started the healing process. Process, excuse me. So, how is your heart posture?
my heart process posture is still um prostate. I'm still laid out. I still seek counseling.
Mm-hmm.
I still am able to I'm now able to freely talk without feeling like I'm going to offend them.
Mm, okay.
I'm going to hurt somebody's feeling.
Hmm.
It's been hurt long enough.
And that's important. Yours has been heard long enough. So,
Um, so I don't care. And I I don't want to sound like it's I just don't care.
mhm,
Um, because I care. I do care about other people's feelings, but now I care about mine more,
there you
if that
go.
makes sense.
That makes a whole lot of sense. You only get one you. So it makes
One me.
a lot of sense. So, going along with your heart posture, forgiveness is a big part. Have you been able to forgive your mother?
Absolutely. I forgave her before she left, but I wasn't going to take it anymore.
Mhm.
There's a difference when forgiving and allowing somebody to trample over you.
Yeah.
I just wasn't doing that anymore. I wasn't laying down and taking it because I felt like I wanted and needed her.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't. I had what I had and it was amazing. Um, I I know without a shadow of a doubt, if things had been different, my life would have been different.
Hmm.
Um, so kudos. I'm indebted to my parents
Yeah.
100%. They knew that. They know that was something we discussed constantly,
Hmm.
especially as I got older. They knew daily what they meant, how they did it. I love them unconditional for that. Um, I loved her. I don't want anybody to ever feel like, I love my mom. If I didn't love my mom, I wouldn't have wanted her attention.
Hmm.
I would have been able to walk away years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but I did love her. I loved her. I also understood as the older that I got, is her pain wasn't my pain.
Hmm.
So just as she couldn't understand my pain, I didn't understand hers.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Once I made the realization that it didn't really have to do with me, I was able to walk in that forgiveness without a shadow of a doubt.
Wow. That's wow. That's powerful. Very powerful. And um, as you were speaking, the word boundaries came up. You forgave
Absolutely.
you forgave her with boundaries. Like, hey, I forgive you, but you too much for me right now. So I can't. I'm not gonna deal with you like that. And there was nothing wrong with setting up boundaries. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you don't love the person. I mean, we're even supposed to set up boundaries for ourselves, y'all. And we can talk about that a different day. Actually, you can go on over to Freeing Me podcast because we
And
did
we
talk about that.
discussed it.
We did talk about that because you do definitely have to set up boundaries for yourself, but you have to have boundaries for others as well. Doesn't mean that you don't love them though.
Yeah.
You're not a doormat. So
And you're not. And you're not. And you don't. What we sometimes get into is we think because of what somebody is doing, they can do whatever.
mhm,
No, you can't.
right,
I don't
exactly,
believe that anymore.
exactly.
And I'm not gonna lay down and let you do that no more. I'm
Yep,
I'm just not.
we absolutely don't have to.
Yep.
So, um, youngsters, and I'm not telling you to disrespect your parents, but you can set boundaries as well.
Yep.
Listen, hit me up, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay.
In a
So
respectful manner.
it varies very much so in a respectful manner because you definitely
Because
don't.
you can be respectful and
Yes,
set a boundary.
yeah, you definitely can, and
Yep.
parents need to respect that. Parent, y'all might totally disagree, but listen, we are learning, we are growing, and
Yep.
listen, we gonna do a whole nother lesson on that one.
Yes, soon.
Hopefully, because it's needed.
Yep.
So, who are or who have you shaped in your lifetime? You
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
You don't know who you are shaping or who you have shaped. Of
I
course,
don't.
your children, of course,
Here,
because you raised them. So the way
I agree.
it's
I agree
kind
to a
of
certain extent.
yeah.
But I've also, because of my childhood trauma, I've raised my children to have their own voices
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
And I may not do it. However, I do want you to know that I'm listening.
Yeah.
So that shaped a different relationship with my
Mm-hmm.
children
Mm-hmm.
than I had, um, because I didn't want them to ever feel like this. Um, so to be honest, I don't know. I don't live my life as an example,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense for somebody out there. I do things because of what I want somebody to feel
Mm-hmm.
as. So if that means that somebody looks up to me or they're modeling themselves after me, I love it.
Yeah.
However, I don't want you to be me either. I
Right,
want
because you can't be
everybody
anyway.
to be themselves.
Right.
And I'm a big believer of, yes, I can help you walk through this. I can talk to you. I am there to listen for you. But at the same time, I need it to be you.
Yeah.
So I can't say that I know who I have shaped, because I'm not even big on trying to go back and say, did I help you?
Oh yeah. No, not in that way.
I don't.
You never know
And if
who's
anybody know me,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't. I probably. I still get. I just had this conversation the other day, which is absolutely crazy. Um, I talk about my son's uh charisma,
Hmm.
very charisma. DJ is charismatic.
Yeah.
Anybody who runs into him immediately loves him.
Yes.
Immediately.
She ain't told no lie about that one, y'all.
It's crazy. And so the lady I was talking says, he gets it from you. And I'm
Yes.
like, I
The lady
have
ain't lying, y'all.
never crossed my mind at all.
Yeah. I mean, you did raise him, Dad.
But I never even think of, oh, my personality. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't. So that's a question that's hard for me to even, because I don't think about stuff like it. It's weird. It's weird.
Well,
I'm sorry, y'all.
well,
It's
it's
weird.
okay. I mean, some people do go back. Maybe there are people that they mentored or whatever. You
Yeah.
know, I'm pretty sure there are some people that you've mentored or you've taken under your wing. Those are some of the people that you've shaped. But no, if you going back and asking people, "Hey, how did I affect your life?"
Right. Did I
No, don't do that.
touch
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
You know.
No, don't do
And
that because you never
I
know who's
do.
watching you. So,
Yeah. And you
um,
don't.
I had a young lady, few years back tell me that not that actually had several people tell me this. She's an adult now, and actually she has grandchildren as well. She's not too much younger than me, but she is a little bit younger than me. But she told me that she used to watch me all the time, and she kind of modeled her life after me, and I'm like, what did I do? I'm what
Because inside you thinking I'm crumbling. There's
right.
no way you're me.
Right. I'm like, well, praise God for what you saw. So it's because of him. He's the one that made me,
I
and he's
get
the
it.
one that shaped me. But I'm just like, you
You're
know,
right.
you never know who's watching.
And
So
you do. I will say that I've had people come tell me stuff, and I'd be like, I had no idea. But
yeah.
it just never, it I don't know. I don't know.
So I
I
will
try
say
not
this.
to know.
I don't think I ever told you this, Dot, and I didn't mean to cut you off. But y'all, we went to the Free Me podcast side because this is how we talk on Free Me podcast.
Yeah.
But I never told you this, and actually thought about that probably this week or last week because I knew our interview was coming up the very first time. Now that remembers me, like from when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the same. You know, I knew her grandpa because her grandpa and my dad sang in the Midwest Gospel Singers together. Let me tell you, that
Yeah.
was a super group back in the day. So I knew Frank Welch, the let me see, would you call it? The fifth singer.
The fifth.
The fifth. Yeah, that means he sang high. He sang the high note in the group. So because they were in their Midwest Gospel Singers together, I knew him. I knew of him. I used to love to hear him sing. You know, my dad sang and played the guitar and stuff, so we have that in common. We do love
Quartet.
that music, y'all. We do love it.
Yes.
But as an adult, when she shared that with me, I tried to, of course, try to go back and think because she was telling me about a song I used to sing "Sacrifice This Life" back in the day. I'm like, oh, like where really you remember that? But I was thinking about us the very first time that I actually met her that I can remember. Um, it was actually was it Chili's? I don't know. It might have been before that. But I was thinking about the beautiful smile on her face, and I have to get emotional. Oh Lord Jesus.
Oh my goodness. Don't make me
She
cry.
she just spoke to me like we were family. Like I've known you forever, you my sister, and this is when she was going to another church as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got introduced to her through my son and my daughter-in-law now, and I was just like, she don't even really know me like that, but she's accepting me for who I am right now because even at that time I didn't know who I was. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, "Oh my gosh, that is
Oh,
so you have affected my life that way, honey. You really have." Because 'Cause I'm just like, she has just been, like, super cool. Didn't even know that well, she did know something about me, but she didn't
yeah.
even know me personally, back then, and it was just like, "Girl, I love you. I don't care if I don't know you like that. I love you." So, he is not gonna make me cry, Dot.
Ah,
Anyway,
great. Yeah.
I'm just like, y'all, listen, if to know her is to love her.
I try. I try. Um, just even thinking about that is crazy because I remember it. Um, but for me, even though we didn't talk,
Mhm.
I felt like that's my sister because we grew up in the quartet world. It
We
ain't
did.
too many the quartet kids was different. We was at every Sunday service. We were at, and even though we had to sit with our parents or sit in a certain area,
Mhm.
we had a connection because we had to be there.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always, oh, you here too. That's all right. We gonna all just be here together, So
Mhm.
to be able to see you later on after life happens, it was like, so in my head, I went back to Pleasant Grove. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I definitely understood why you thought, like, dang, this girl's so loving. But in my head, I was back in Pleasant Grove on the
Yeah.
second row,
Yeah.
um, seeing when we came to y'all choir or whatever would have to sing. So I would see
Mhm.
you, I would
Mhm.
see Brunel, I would see
Mhm.
Kevin McGee,
Mhm.
those are things that in my child, that was fun times for me
Yeah.
because at the time, again, I tell people all the time, everybody's 10 years younger or 10 years older.
Mhm.
So that was my alone time with my mom and dad most
Mm.
times were
Mhm.
Sundays. Sundays were our day.
Yeah.
So I could go to church from sun up to sundown and it wasn't anything else about nothing but me and my parents.
Mm.
It was our individual time because everybody else was teenagers.
Oh,
Everybody else was, grown.
yeah,
They didn't even live at home anymore. So
yeah.
this was our alone time where I got to feel like nothing mattered but me and my parents.
Wow.
So that was my escape of reality.
Wow.
Um,
Yes,
so
your special time with your
my
parents.
special time. So my Sundays, and still are, my Sundays are special to me because that was my uh the best day, the best feeling
Yeah.
is being able to be up under the two people I felt loved me unconditional. I
Wow.
used to feel like they were the only people on this world that walked this earth that loved me.
Wow. Wow. Ooh.
And that's uh you know especially during holiday times, it gets hard because
Yeah.
they're both gone
Yeah.
and I have to face I'm alone. There's never a holiday, there's never a birthday that my parents wouldn't get on the phone. Like, even when they were older, they would pick up the phone, and one would pick up the phone downstairs and the other one would be in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and they'd be fighting over each other to talk about who gonna tell me happy birthday the best, you
Wow.
know. So it's those types of things that I miss.
Yeah.
That makes me realize that I'm alone sometimes. And I
Hmm.
know people be like, girl, you loved, everybody likes you, whatever.
But ain't nothing like
Um,
having your
it
parents.
ain't nothing like a parent's
Man.
unconditional, no matter what. We didn't even birth you, parents.
Yes.
But because we didn't even birth you and we took the extra time
Yeah.
to make sure you was loved,
Yeah.
it's something different. It's different. And it's it was so special. Like it was a like it's funny because my best friend would be like, it's amazing to me that we can come over here and sit in the kitchen. Your mom lights up.
Yeah. Listen, I got a chance to sit with mom. I did. I got a chance to sit with
Uh,
mom because she knew some stuff about my mom, and I wanted to know some things about my mom. I got a chance to sit with her, and I see why Dottie is the way she is. She is very kind and funny and funny.
I get called her all of I get called her more now that she's passed on. Um, they be like, girl, you put them glasses on and you are like identical. He like, she probably is right in my face right now, looking like, girl, get your life together.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Dot, for agreeing to bear your soul on Tuesday Truths platform. Um, yeah, that's my sister friend. I love her. Thank you so much. And listen, like I said, she's a visionary of the Bring Me podcast. So y'all go over there and check it out. I guarantee
Yes,
you,
come
your girl
talk
gonna
to
be
me on
blessed.
Free and Me podcast.
Please come and talk. Listen, we invite you all to on that platform as well. But this is today's Tuesday Truth. My name is Juanita Williams. I am a purpose conduit. I am the link to Life Beyond Pain and the channel to Discovering Purpose. And I will see you all next time, God willing. Bye bye now.